So welcome everyone. Today is the start of the Young Adult Weeks, and then thank you all for coming so that I have this opportunity to share with you all and to learn from you all as well. So with this weather, my BBC will be very lighthearted. So I'll be sharing my experience on how I met Buddhism, and I realized the happiness that I was chasing previously was just so short-lived. Yeah. So first, there's this saying of the terrible twos in kids. Mine was a terrible teen. So how I met Buddhism was that one of my friends brought me to a temple back in Singapore. And that time I was miserable, angry, sad. And I tried many different ways to make myself happy. Drinking, was in a clique full of gangsters. Hanging around after school because I was being detained as I played truant. And instead of reflecting during detention, I was walking around looking at guys and doing all the funny things. Yeah. So I played prank on teachers as well, and many times I got punishment for that. So eventually I didn't carry on with this clique of gangsters because one day I found that I saw knives in her bag, and I started asking myself, do I want to lead a life like that? Every day carrying knives and maybe going for fights. And eventually I found out that she actually went to a girls' home, or they call it a juvenile home. So my teachers were not hard on me. They were pretty nice to me because they were depending on my grades for their bonuses. And apparently I was stopping the school, so I could negotiate terms with them. So playing truant all the time, skipping school all the time, I miss all the dates for curriculum activities, like extra activities in school. So I couldn't join all the programs that was there, and I was being allocated. So I was allocated to the choir, and initially I really hated it. I was standing for hours, sitting for hours, and I just didn't enjoy it. So I hide behind the music scores and I just slept. So of course I got caught, and I started arguing with the teacher and then skipping choir practices and things like that. So my friend who was in this choir, she was very compassionate. She's a very good soprano. And when we went to karaoke, they call it K-box in Singapore. So she will sing really well. And then one day she decided to take me to talk to a nun. So I was like, okay, being a very young, arrogant person that has good grades, I was like, what's a nun? Just talk to her, argue with her. I will argue my way through. So okay. So when I went there, I started talking to her about rebirth, about how silly to give things up, like material possessions, having a shaved head, dull clothing, but I thought her robes were cool. So I was angry, sad, confused, and sometimes I played a fool around her, disturbing her. And now when I look back, I felt that, I was really disrespectful. But she has never lost a temper with me. She was so patient, so calm, gentle, like Venerable Kadro. And it was like a Tibetan debate, but I didn't know about it at the time. And she was answering me, and then with so much compassion. But one thing she told me that really struck with me, and this came up again. She said, you don't have to believe whatever that I told you. And this was what Venerable told me when I first arrived. You don't have to believe whatever I say, you try it out yourself. So I wanted to learn Buddhism at that time. I was like, whoa, okay, this is good. But the motivation wasn't to understand the teaching. The motivation was to challenge her because I couldn't win her in the arguments. So I was thinking of learning it to make sure that my next argument with her, I will win. So I went back and started studying the Graduated Path to Awakening, which is the Lam Rim, one of the Buddhist teaching. And then I will go and offer my service during the weekends. So she will walk around the temple with me, and then it's very big, so she will talk to me, see how I was doing, She was caring for me, but sometimes I felt that she was so noisy, like such a busybody. But at the same time, I felt really protected. So I couldn't see that I was changing, and then I started learning about karma. That was when I started getting fearful and scared. It hit on me like, oh, all these things that I've done is so unkind, so unwise, drinking, partying, trying out all the different things to make myself happy. And this will bring about negative consequences. So I tested things out and see for myself, like the Buddha says, just as a goldsmith would test his gold by burning, cutting, and rubbing it, so you must examine my words and accept them, but not merely out of reverence for me. So I do that now too. When people give me advice, feedbacks, test it out, sit and think about it and see if it works. So I continued studying the teachings, and I didn't want to drink anymore. I didn't want to do these unwise, unkind behavior and actions. I wanted to be someone that's happy, who is more filial, more disciplined, kind, caring. And I started to think about monastic life. So of course I would speak to my mom. So I talked to her about my wish to be a monastic. And of course the first time, she was raging to sky heaven. Like, what the heck? And then, you need to finish your degree, you need to have a good relation, you need to have working experience, what are you going to base on? Okay. And then I step away like, I just stepped on a landmine. So, okay, I did a U-turn, and I thought about it again after a few years. And meanwhile, of course, I listened to her. Do my degree, went to a good auditing firm, climbed the corporate ladder quickly, earned a lot of money, got a good relation. But this monastic mind was at the back of my mind because I was not happy. So, as you know, at the Abbey, we have this high achiever neurotic society. So I'm a member of it. Okay, self-declared. And I'm trying to get out of it too. So what I did at that time, I did 500 prostrations every night, past midnight, because after work I would go to a monastery, scrub all the toilets to remove obstacles. So each prostration I did was just the name of Guanyin Bodhisattva. And then for at least 6 months until my knees gave way. So with a lot of fear, I told myself, no, it's not working. And as I approached my mom about this topic, I was about to pee in my pants because I know her reaction. And I went again, and this time I really sat her down. And I told her that, Mom, I'm not happy at all. So something seems to be missing in my life. I just feel so miserable after chasing things again and again, and then go into that cycle, making myself miserable again, and then wanting more and more. So it seems like I have the ideal life that every Singaporean wants. My partner was a scholar. He's an engineer with 2 scholarships, so he could attend conferences throughout the world. And then we were planning that I would have 4 kids because I love kids. So while he attended his conference, I would go shopping with the kids, and then we will tour the world. So life was planned out, life was good. So I could not even need to work. So what's life? Wow, that's just the ideal life my parents would want. And my partner was a very virtuous man. He was a Buddhist. He was kind, big-hearted as well. So I felt that, I wasn't happy. I was chasing after one thing after another. It was so unsatisfactory, and was not being a better person. I was helping people in the wrong way, having wrong understanding of life, what really life means. Is it just planned out like that and I just follow my life and end it like that? So the worst thing that can happen is you help people in the wrong way by feeding all their afflictions, giving them what they want, think that you're like Santa Claus, you're helping everyone in the world. Like what Venerable Pema said before, Superman. Oh God. So I needed discipline, I needed support. I wanted to change. I wanted to grow, and I need someone to teach me. So I talked to my parents about it, and I broke up with my partner. I realigned my life entirely. And of course my mom was angry. My dad was really puzzled. But after speaking to her and one day she told me, if this is what you want in your life, I will support you. And I said, thank you, and I will work hard to repay your kindness. So this time when I came back to the Abbey, my dad was very Chinese, and he doesn't speak very much. He was very macho. So he only says, yes, okay, what do you want? You know, that Asian style. But this time when I came back, he said in Chinese, like, if you are happy in your decision, I will support you. Take care and let me know if you needed anything, especially when you have never experienced the 4 seasons. The door of the house will always be open for you. So I was like, oh, my dad. So so that's how I met Buddhism, and that's my path before coming to the Abbey. So during this time when I'm at the Abbey, especially these few weeks, or probably these few months, I start meditating about this self-centered attitude, this self-centeredness that Venerable talks about. It just hit on me one day that, oh, actually I'm very self-centered too. And I don't have to beat myself up thinking I'm so lousy, I'm so bad. You know, I learned that we can normalize things here. Every one of us have the same afflictions. Yeah, and one thing that really helped was the Four Noble Truths. Thank you, Venerable, for that advice. So I started using examples of my life to see the different ways that my self-centered play out. The ruminating mind, oh, people don't like me, people hate me, I cannot fit, oh, it's a cultural issue, I'm this, I'm that, they are there. And it's like, oh. So I start really sitting and think about this attitude. How can I change? How do I want to transform my mind? And then working in the kitchen with Venerable, Sochun really helped. She tells me, cha-cha-cha. So that really happens in my practice. Take 3 steps, go 2 steps back. Cha-cha-cha. So a couple of weeks ago, I started to see that ordination is actually not everything. I used to think, oh, I want to do this fast, quick. I know what I want in life. But I realized it's not everything. It's to transform this state of mind. It's the transformation that matters, the practice, the heart, and the type of person that I want to be in future. Renunciation is not just an appearance. It's the heart and the mind and how I practice moving forward. I don't have to rush for anything. Most importantly is what is the state of my mind. So I do thank my past life for creating this kind of great karma. I can't imagine what I would be. And learning so much more here, having this opportunity to learn and grow. So some of the things that I'm learning currently is self-expression instead of self-exposure. When you vomit everything and you think that, oh, that's being transparent, I'm so honest, I throw out all my problems. That's so unkind. I didn't even think of what other people are feeling, what they are working through. They might have afflictions. I think, oh, I'm transparent. And that's arrogance there too. So I'm also learning about transforming this reward and punishment. Venerable Damcho pointed out to me a few times, John, sir, there's no such thing as reward and punishment. I don't know how to get through this to you. Now I'm seeing it. It's called causes and conditions, not rewards and punishment. And also another one is I'm starting to rewire my mind on certain things, habitual patterns, the ruminating mind that goes round and round. Oh, you know, this thing again. What if this? What if that? What is this? Oh, it's so much easier now to catch it once you get the pattern. You see the habitual patterns, you know your pattern on how it works out. Yeah. And I really rejoice in all these afflictions arising. I catch them and I know there is a way to do it now. So other than getting out of this high achievers club, I also thank all those who welcome me into this mind transforming club and kicking me out of the becoming a jerk club. And yes, I do make mistakes, and I start to see that the fear of making mistakes decrease. Every time I make a mistake, I get really panicky. Oh no, I'm going to be chased out because I made a mistake. Oh no, I'm bad because I made a mistake. Oh well, which human doesn't? So it's like, I really start to normalize things. I made a mistake, I apologize, I accept the mistakes. I'm not perfect, and yeah, that's perfect. for being not perfect. So I would like to end with a poem that I thought of in the forest, and the forest is really inspiring. So the poem goes like that. For every challenge, there is a way. There is always a way, and the way is on the way. Pain and happiness comes from the mind. Getting out of the afflicted mind is how you transform the mind. I know I will definitely be fine when I let go of the me, I, and mine. Thank you.